Awesome. So throughout my years of teaching, Gina, both in the studio setting and in an academic setting, because I did K-12, I also have been in studio for more years than I care to age myself here with. I've noticed such a huge disparity between what we as studio educators are focusing on teaching and what colleges and universities are asking for in auditions. I mean, I get a kid and they're ready to go, and then I get the paper of what they want, and I'm like, okay, that's not, I mean, they know it, but that's not what we have been focusing on. Have you found this to be true? And why do you think there's such a big gap?
I do notice that disparity. And I think a lot of it is because of the different performances that we put together. A lot of times studios are putting together competition dances or recital dances, which have a completely different focus than
Right.
a college dance program, which is putting on a professional production. There tends to be a lot of emphasis at studio level on how many turns can you do? And can you do the new handstand trick that flips over and you end up in the splits and that sort of thing? Whereas in, both in the professional field and going into college, the focus really is on movement quality and artistry and your ability to be a chameleon and snap into any style that the choreography tosses in front of you. So I have noticed that disparity, and I think the two can inform the other. I've seen competition dance really blossom lately because they're wearing their Apollo shocks and they're doing contemporary movement that is more artistic. And I've seen how the professional dance world has benefited from this focus of competition dance because dancer skills are snappy now and they've got a lot to work with. So while there is a big disparity, I think the one can really help the other in the long run.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're going to get into this a little bit later, I'm sure, but yeah, there is definitely a mismatch. And the level, like you said, the level of competition has gotten so good and so big that these kids are dancing at a professional level at 14, 15 years old, and they're putting in a professional amount of time, right? Like, I mean, we've got kids, and I'm not necessarily advocating for this, but we've got kids realistically that are dancing 17 to 20 hours a week, and they've got, 17 to 20 dances in a competition season. And it's a lot. And there's obviously a huge set of cons and things to think about why not to do that, but it doesn't change the reality that it's happening. So I definitely agree with you there. So Gina, I've heard many people say this, and this is an argument. I don't know that this argument is ever going to go away, that you don't need a college degree to have a career in dance. I got my degree in business. I did not get my degree in dance. What are your thoughts on this? And do you think that it largely depends on what you want to do with the industry? Is it more tailored to the person and the individual? What is your thought on that? And where do you stand?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many factors to consider. So to answer your question in one sentence, no. You don't need a college degree in order to have a career in the field. But then it's really so individual to the dancer. I think most importantly, if you're looking at a senior wanting to audition or wanting to go to college, the biggest question is, are you emotionally ready to step out, to be on your own, to be in charge of to be adulting? And not all high school seniors are. While they might have a great facility, could probably pop into a company right away, maybe they don't have the social or emotional skills yet to be on their own without the support network that a college environment can provide for them. So I think that's paramount. And for every dancer, that development is going to be different. And it's not a reflection on your intelligence or your skill. It's just, are you ready to be on your own yet? So that's a big consideration. Another consideration is, what do you want to do? Do you want to choreograph? Well, then, gosh, a college dance degree would really broaden your horizons. You learn so many new styles and influences and get to work from fantastic choreographies to build your own understanding of what choreography is and how to tap into what you have. But maybe you're a bunhead and you trained those 17, 20 hours and you're ready to hop into a trainee position. I mean, both are, it just depends on the dancer and what they want to do.
Yeah. And I will say, like, when I you know, in your state, in your hometown, in your studio, you become the big fish, right? In
Mhm.
your little area. But then when you move out, you know, I got my college degree in business and then I moved to LA after that, right? Like I got the corporate America job for a year and then moved out to LA and was equipped, you know, mentally and maturity wise to grasp the concept of that and be able to figure out what I needed to do once I got there. But like you said, not everybody is. And you know, my love was jazz funk, was hip hop, was, you know, that type of dance. And at the time, you know, I'm dating myself a little bit. College programs definitely were more for
Yeah.
modern based contemporary ballet, which were not, you know, I was trained in those styles and did those styles, but those were not my, you know, it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't the
Mhm.
career I wanted to pursue. I didn't want to be in a company. I didn't want to do that. So for me, that didn't feel like it was a good fit. Is that the case now? Do you feel like college programs have evolved to cater to dancers that want to look outside of the contemporary space?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And
Okay.
that's where the dancer's job in doing their homework really comes into play, because each college program, and even this within one program, there might be a performance track and a pedagogy track.
Mhm.
There are so many different options that dancers really need to do their homework and find out what these different programs are setting you up for. But there are a lot of programs now that are very diverse and, you know, work to set up commercial dancers to be successful, or concert dancers to be successful in their different spheres. They're teaching things now like how to file for unemployment during those
Mm.
gaps
That's
in your
Right.
wonderful.
employment. They're teaching these business skills that dancers of all backgrounds and genres need. So I think that the college dance world is really stepping up and is truly offering now the skills that dancers need to be successful. But the homework and finding the right program is essential.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I think Bree, you have the next question. Are you
Oh
there?
yeah. Okay. So for those, yeah, sorry, I was typing what Gina was saying. But yeah, and for any of you out there, we're curious to hear what you have to say about this. Are any of you that are watching struggling with this decision in your own life right now? Do you have any questions for Gina? Pop those in. Again, I'm Bree with Apollo. This is Melissa with Turning Point Dance Creations, and this is Beyond the Steps. This is the show that we meet every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern to talk with you about any range of topics impacting the dance world, from racism to gender inequities to sex abuse and prevention, nutrition, psychology, and of course, my favorite, dance medicine and science. So we're talking with guest experts like Gina every single week to bring you insight and advice on these topics and evidence-based research that's so important to distinguish. So again, we're chatting with Gina McFadden today, who is a pre-professional coach for dancers and just a mindset coach. And we're talking today about how we can instill that pre-pro mindset in dancers. And she's the creator of Dancer 360. If you have not checked her out yet, I highly encourage you to, especially if you're in high school and you think you may want to pursue dance as a career. It's a resource you absolutely need to be aware of. So Gina, going into the next segment, what's the most important piece of advice to each of the following audiences? And we're going to take those one at a time. So what would you say to the student who's going to pursue dance at the college level? What's your biggest piece of advice for that student?
So aside from doing their research, which I think is paramount, my second piece of advice would be get outside of your studio. Get
Mm.
outside of your
Yeah,
comfort zone. Start taking open classes from teachers you don't know, trying styles that your body isn't super familiar with. Get outside of your comfort zone and get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because when you can master the sense of, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do that thing,
Mhm.
but I can figure it out, that type of resilient mindset is going to be essential for you to be successful in the dance industry. So at your home studio, you've got that comfortable little spot at the bar and the mirror that you like and the right spot, but get yourself out of that comfort zone so that you can really challenge your mind to
Mhm.
find the way to push through and challenges arise when you're outside your comfort zone so that you can thrive even in that type of environment.
It's so true, because the minute that I don't care if you're in college, I don't care if you're moving to New York or LA, the minute you step out of that space, right? And I always say this to people that ask about, did I like book like my dream professional dance job when I lived in LA? No. But the process of auditioning, the small jobs you take here and there, to build up that resume, the people, the networking you do, the shows you do just to get your name out there, right? Like those were invaluable to, the person I became, the businesswoman that I am, the network I developed that I used then for Apollo, right? But the minute you go take class in those atmospheres, you are broken down back to, I don't want to say nothing, but like if there's a level above nothing, you're broken down back to that. And then you have to build yourself up, because it's everybody that was the top dog at their studio. It's everybody that was the big fish in their hometown. And all those people have the same big dreams that you do. And it's really important that you don't let that beat you, because it really can. Like you see people that are there, you'll see them all of a sudden for 2 months, like in every class, and then they disappear, and where did so-and-so go? They move back home, right?
Right.
So getting over that hump and being okay with the fact that, look, like I was good here and that's great, and pat myself on the back, but now I've got to let that go and build myself back up to be even stronger and even bigger. It's so important.
Yeah, and also Bree, the other thing I want to highlight here is we're asking students to get out of their studio and take open classes. Studio owners and teachers have to be open to that, because there is a territorial mindset among studios, and it's like, oh no, you don't go anywhere but here. And I'm not judging that, because there's also I'm going to steal all your students mindset, especially in it's big in Charlotte. Let me just go ahead and call this out. Like it's huge.
Absolutely. It's big. It's big everywhere. And that is a thing, you don't realize what that is until you're on the director or the educator side of it. It hurts when you put and invest so much time into a student, and then somebody else benefits from all that time, all those that blood, sweat, and tears that you poured into somebody. But at the end of the day, it's not our job. We don't claim these kids. We're a part, we're a stamp on their career, a stamp on but we're just a small part of that path that they're on. And we have to be okay with letting them go out in the world, and it's got to be what's best for them. And I think that's what we have to keep in mind as educators, for sure.
Right. Absolutely.
Gina, talk about, now let's shift gears. So you're talking to a parent of a student who's going to pursue dance at a college level, right? What do you say to that parent?
So to the parent, I would say, again, aside from doing their research, the biggest piece of advice I would have would be to sit down with your dancer, to really talk with them about what it is they want to do. Because I feel a lot of times dancers who pursue a college degree oftentimes are there because dancer is their identity. And it's hard for them to think beyond, well, I have to go to college for dance. I have to, continue this. So there's some digging to do there. And I think sitting down with your dancer and talking about their goals and where they would like to see themselves in 5 years, because that can really put into context, one, if they do go to dance for college or something else, and two, what type of focus they make, choreography or performance focus or teaching focus. Or maybe they're not going to spend $65,000 on a 4-year degree because it's difficult for them to move on. Maybe it's, so I think having those open conversations with the dancers is really important, because that can frame how you approach all of the other questions that come after.
Would you say it's important for the parents to try to leave their opinions out of it and to listen more than anything else in these conversations?
I do. I feel like dancers really love to please. They love to please their teachers, and they love to please their parents, even not all the time, but that's important to them. So sometimes the voices of the parent and the teacher can be so loud in their ears that they can't really hear what they want to do. So I do feel that it's respectful of parents to give their dancers space to consider what they really want. And yet, parents have prefrontal cortexes that are fully developed, and the dancer
Right.
does not.
Yeah.
So I try to emphasize when working with dancers that are making this decision, the importance of, one, listening to what you want, but two, being surrounded by people who love you, who care about you, who know your personality, who know your talent and ability, that can help guide and direct.
Yeah. What are your, I'm digressing, I'm going off I'm veering. But what are your thoughts on, you know, the idea of double majoring? Because you hear about a lot of people, I'm going to major in dance and minor in business, or I'm going to major in business and minor in dance, or kinesiology, or one of 5,000 degrees, right? That you could get. What are your thoughts on that for somebody that's on the fence and they don't know what to do? Is it a viable path to do both? Is it realistic? Does it matter on the specific individual? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think a lot of dancers try to put one foot in both worlds. And obviously, it's going to be different for each dancer and each program and each major or minor that you choose. But gosh, it's hard to go all in two different directions. If you're wanting to get a job, but you're like, oh, but I'm going to also be a kinesiology double major to cover both grounds. Well, you're not going to be able to go off and take those auditions that come up during the school. You're going to be so busy with your academics and your dance requirements to be a double major. So I love the idea of not having all of your eggs in one basket, and yet it's hard to be all in two different spheres. Now, if you're sure that you want to be something, a kinesiologist, then have that be maybe dance as your minor. Just kind of stack according to what your priorities are.
Right.
However, if you're just going in going, I don't know if I want to do this or this, so I'm going to try to do both, I think that can be very overwhelming, especially for a freshman, especially because working with dancers at the college level, they struggle when they're freshmen. Not all of them, but to wrap their minds around, I have an 8:30 ballet class and then a 3 p.m. modern class, and like chemistry and biology and
in the middle, right?
It's different for their body, it's different for their minds, and to try to go full in a double major from the beginning is a lot on those dancers.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great point. That's a great point.
I think we've all had a student that has the talent to be a dance major or professional performer, but maybe lacks that confidence or motivation. Do you think that convincing or pushing a student like that is likely to result in success, or is it a recipe for disaster? Like, how much should we push when we see that?
Right. I think that's a really good question. I think dancers do need support and love and someone cheering them on. But I wrote down a quote that I heard recently. The person at the top of the mountain didn't fall there. To get to the top of a mountain, and let's face it, like getting a dance job is basically getting to the top of a mountain.
Right.
That person doesn't fall into that. That person's not going to be pushed up the mountain by the parent or the teacher. We do need the support. We need someone bringing us water. We need someone checking to make sure we've got our gear on and that we're going to make it to the top of the mountain. But no one can push a dancer up there. They've got to be so driven, motivation coming from within. And that's why it's so important to have dancers in a healthy environment so that they don't get burnt out and then require the support that's pushing them. They need to take care of their bodies, minds, and souls, which is what I try to teach us at Dancer 360, so that their motivation maintains and so they can make it up that mountain, because no one's going to fall there. They have to climb to get there.
I love that, Gina. I love that.
See Naomi, I'm gonna say Naomi Nikel, the model on Instagram. I love the mom that lets me model and dance, both support each other. That is awesome to have supportive parents. That is really, really, really great.
Good job, Mom.
Yeah, good job.
Good job, Naomi's mom.
And Naomi is a course ambassador for an online course I have called The Confident Dancer.
Okay.
So
nice.
I love
she
her.
gets it. Yeah.
She does. Yeah, for sure.
That's
Wonderful.
great. Thank you for watching, Naomi.
Yes, thank you. We are here today with Gina McFadden talking about how we can prepare our dancers for college and instill a pre-pro mindset at the studio level. You are not too late to get valuable information, as well as share this with everyone on your social media platforms. We are just about to get into the nitty gritty of exactly how we do this. But I do want to really quickly talk about, since we're talking about mindset, we've talked a lot on the show about mental health among dancers and increased levels of depression and anxiety that happens at higher level performers, not just in dance, but it seems to be, from some of the shows that we've had in the past, more prevalent in dancers, actually. So what are some of the dangers of entering into this and not having the right mindset? I think not getting a job is probably the least of your worries when you're entering in this, if you enter with the wrong mindset.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I mean, mental health is health. It just is. And in order to maintain a healthy mind, we have to put on the right mindset, like putting on clothes. You're not going to show up for a hip hop audition in a black leotard and pink tights.
Right.
You can't show up to the dance world with a perfectionistic mindset and thrive. You might do well in class, you might perform at a high level for a while, but those types of mindsets that are not growth mindsets will eventually be a super big challenge for that dancer. So clothing yourself with a right mindset is fundamental to being successful in our dance industry. And I referenced a book by Carol Dweck called Growth Mindset, where she talks about learning how failures are your teachers. That falling at a double turn is how you learn how to do the double turn the next time.
Right.
And I think building that growth mindset in our dancers is fundamental for them to succeed.
Who's the author of that book, Gina?
Carol Dweck.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's another guest referred to Carol Dweck. I wish I could remember who it was. We've done so many shows, y'all, and I'm old.
Was it Ashley? It might have been Ashley
It
Maury.
could have been Ashley.
My good friend Ashley. Yeah, she's amazing.
We love Ashley Maury. Shout out to Ashley Maury.
Right. Yeah. Ashley Maury Mindset on Instagram.
Yeah.
So, like I said, like I promised, let's get down to the nitty gritty. What are the top 3 things as dance educators that we can do to help put our dancers in the correct mindset for college and professional careers?
So I didn't want to mess this one up, so I wrote them down. I think it's important to encourage dancers to focus on artistry over tricks.
Say it again, louder for the people. Say it again.
Sorry to all my dancer friends posting your quadruple pirouettes on Instagram. It really needs to be the focus, because ultimately we're not circus people. We're not performing tricks.
We could be, unless that's what you want to go into.
Some of us are. Some of us can do both, the Cirque du Soleil world. But what we are is we're artists. And so while the tricks make the artistry fun to watch, what we really focus on as dancers is the artistry. So that's my first one. My second one is how to help them develop a growth mindset. As we mentioned before, we need to ditch perfectionism and embrace learning from our mistakes and not value our worth based on our output, if that makes any sense.
Can I pause you right there real quick to go off on a total tangent? Is that the antithesis of competitive dance? Because everything we do is focused on the output. So it's kind of like,
it's and to go one step further, to go back to what you were saying in the beginning, you're in your first point, right? Is like, that's fine, but competitive dance, like, that's what wins. I mean, and I know we can all say, till we're blue in the face, winning doesn't matter, and it's experience, the what we learn, but we're all lying if we don't say that we love the win, right? So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I've now come full circle. I now have a dancer who is a competitive dancer, a daughter. So, and I love to cheer her on when she gets a special award. She got like a something about a smile, a special word for smiling. And I was like, yes, I was like, the parents so excited. It is so invigorating and encouraging to have a spotlight on you and to be recognized for your work and for, the effort that you put in the studio. But that has to be separate from our worth as a human, and from our focus as dance makers. It's almost like if it could shift from being at the forefront of our focus to, oh my gosh, we got first place on this, or I got a high goal, or whatever the newfangled breakdowns of
The newfangled highest thing.
A double platinum access,
double shiny silver,
shiny silver Star Award. Yeah.
Right. Titanium, triple crystal glass. Yeah.
Yeah.
As dance educators and as dance parents and as dancers, can we shift our focus to, well, that's an interesting outcome from all the work that I put in at the studio, but not be quite so tied to what that outcome is. But I know, as you said, it's so hard because I now am the dance mom of a competitive dancer, so I get it. And it's hard to.
Yeah, I just, it's tough. I don't have the answer on it. I just know that what we're telling students to do to prepare realistically for these things does not match what we're encouraging them to do at the competitive level. And hey, guilty.
Totally guilty. That's what I do.
I mean, I am in the boat with all y'all, right? Like I'm not outside of the boat, I'm in the boat.
But maybe just saying those words out loud shines a little light in the darkness.
Yeah.
Okay. And so for our students, they see us and they go, oh, okay, well, they kind of struggle with this too.
Yeah.
I think even just having this discussion can bring a little light to the dark.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. What's the third piece of advice?
This is why I wrote it down. So I went to get the third. Educate them on their options for incorporating dance into their future.
Okay. Yes.
So in other words, choreographer, those different options that I mentioned earlier, then with respect, allow them to listen to their heart and intuition about what they really want to do.
Yeah, that's a great one, because you could point out to a student, and I've done this with some of my students as well. Like, look, I remember one specifically, I had a student that had no idea. She was graduating college, knew she wanted to do something with dance, but didn't know what program was right. And we had talked a lot about it, a lot of different programs and a lot of different options. And I tried to point out to her, like, even if you're not on stage, right, or behind, in the video, like you could find a college program, you could get an internship with a dance magazine or a publication, right, or a talent agency, or any number of companies that are dance related. Like, there's so many people impacting the dance world on a larger scale that you don't even think how your career could lead you that direction, right? So just, I think also people highlighting, outside of the normal on stage, in the video, in the dance company, like what's outside of that that's interesting.
Right. And dancers have so many transferable skills. I mean, we can pretty much do anything. Not to be biased, but we totally can pretty much do anything out there. I have Naomi, you have taught Naomi so well.
I know, she's got it down.
Approach struggles with saying, I can't do it yet. Exactly. That's the key to the growth mindset. I can't do it yet. I tell when my kids say can, I was like, oh no, we need to reframe that. What does that mean? You can't do it yet. You're working on doing it later. You're gonna get better at it. All of those phrases need to be part of our class on a regular basis. For those of you who are just joining us, we've been talking with Gina McFadden about how we instill in our students a pre-pro mindset and prepare them to go to college. We're just about to get some sage advice from her on what we need to be doing over the next 7 days as homework. So Gina, we give homework here. People watch us from week to week to week, and we like to give them one action item. So give us one action item that you want our listeners to take between now and next week to make progress in this area.
Okay, so mine would be a little brainstorming session. Because I think a lot of dancers, when they think about their future, or parents, when they think about the future of their dancer, there's a lot of anxiety that's clouding around the topic. And that can really block the dancer from really seeing what they have in front of them, what their options are with clear eyes. And sometimes just getting our thoughts and feelings out on paper can help the anxiety level drop. So I would say take some time to think about what are the pros and cons of going to college or auditioning for a company. What are the fears that you have, and who can you talk to about those fears? So really just doing a nice, thorough brainstorming session around this topic, or encouraging your dancer to do so would be one step.
Do you think, again, I know I'm not trying to get us way off track, but like, do you think encouraging them to, obviously we want them to put good thought into their decision, and we want it to be a well thought out, well executed decision, but wouldn't it take some of the load off if you just said, look, at the end of the day, you got to make the best decision for you. But if it doesn't work out, you can pivot, like you can make a change. It's okay.
You're not stuck.
Because, yeah, even in, I mean, my life is so different than what I thought it was going to be in high school. And thank God for that, right? Like, thank God I took all the twists and turns and the pivots and listened to my heart when I did. You know, that's how I met my husband. I wouldn't have had my kids. I wouldn't have had a Paula. Like, all of these things all happened, and I did not plan for that at all. Right. So like, but I'm also very type A. Like, I grew up with, you know, two parents who worked really, really hard at something for a long time and have a very successful, you know, company and life. And, you know, you watch that, you want to emulate that, and you feel pressure, but like, it would have been nice for somebody to just go, it's okay. Like, if you don't get it right, like, we'll fix it. We'll change. It'll be all right. You know, take the pressure off.
Totally agree. I think that's part of a growth mindset. What you just described is, it doesn't have to be black or white thinking. It's not either go to college or not, either be a professional dancer or go to college. It's really the path that's unfolding in front of you. And when I was talking to my mom about the decision to let me audition for companies rather than go to college, she said, we didn't know what was going to happen next. We just took the next best one step in front of us. And that's all we can do. Yes, we need to be informed. Parents and dancers, you need to do your research on college programs. You need to look at the percentage chance, or, you know, that the dancers end up getting career jobs in their career. If you're going into a traineeship, what's the percentage chance that they're going to get a spot in the company? Do your research. But then also, how it's unfolding is out of your control. You can only make the next one step in front of you. So I love you said dancers, we pivot. If anybody knows how to pivot, it's a dancer.
Right.
That's right.
We pivot with some pizzazz. So yes, be informed. Yes, do your homework. Lean into that type A personality. But then also maybe take a yoga class so that you can also tune into it's beautifully unfolding all around you, and you have no control over it. You just take the next best step in front of you.
Take the ride. That is amazing advice. So we have our homework, get this brainstorming session going, put it on paper, pros, cons, fears, who are your resources, who can you talk to, what's your next best one step. So that's your homework. Students, parents, and teachers who may be mentoring or advising students, please make sure that you do that homework. We also have some other homework for you, as always. This is the same homework every week. We're going to keep saying it until everyone in the whole wide dance world does their homework. Take the STEPS initiative. It is a free module. Bree is putting that into the chats right now. There are courses on there from experts, everything from dance medicine and science, racism, sex abuse and prevention, nutrition, psychology, you name it, it is there, and it is all free. Also, our friends at YPAD have a number of certifications that you can get 25% off on by using the code APOLLA25. Those links are also in the chat as well. Gina, of course, if you want more Gina, which I totally do, based on the wonderful stuff she said here, dancer, Adriana R.
Adriana.
Oh, I love, yes. Adriana's been viewing before and said, oh, I love this with lots of heart. So thank you, Adriana, for coming and watching again. Gina's website, dancer-360.com. You can find information about all of her courses and her and the program there. And she has a course coming up, the college dance decision course, correct?
Yes,
That was a
and
tough
that course is actually open now.
Okay.
It is a mini course that I co-created with Caitlin Sloan of the Brainy Ballerina. We
Okay.
put our heads together. Her career path went college dance degree, professional dance. Mine went forego college till later, jump right in the professional world. So we teamed up with our two different perspectives and put together a course. This could be homework if you wanted to take a mini course to help guide you in the decision-making process. It informs the dancer all the BFA, MFA options that they have, what that looks like, how to choose a college, what auditioning for companies in the commercial and in the concert dance world looks like, how to talk to your parents about what you really want, how to develop a plan and a backup plan for that plan. And it can be done in a weekend. So if you're interested in this topic and getting more clarity, we've poured our soul into this course called the College Dance Decision. And if you go to my link in my bio, you'll see the link for that.
I linked it as well here on Facebook. So everybody check that out. It's again, these are things I wish we would have had when we were making these decisions, which we did not, right? It was much different world. So what a resource this is for parents and educators who are mentoring students that are on the brink of having to make this decision, and they don't have to be a senior in high school to start having these conversations. I really want to reiterate, kids start making plans as early as freshman and sophomore year in high school. We're seeing kids go visit college programs and, having those conversations with their educators and parents. So it's not never too early to start, especially when you've got a high schooler that you're talking with. Yeah. Gina, thank you so much for being here. Tell everybody your Instagram handle as well. I want to make sure to put that in.
Great. Yeah, my Instagram handle is my name, Gina_McFadden_.
Great. Thank you. And we've logged all Gina's information here on our Facebook thread as well. You can see this whole entire video on Apollo's Facebook page, on TPDC's YouTube page, and make sure you share these videos with another dancer or educator or parent in your life. We are here to help make life a little easier, give you some thought-provoking things to consider as you plan your new dance season, especially for all you dance educators out there. Next week, Friday, July 22nd, we're going to be chatting with Jennifer Milner, who's the co-founder of Bendy Bodies podcast. She does Pilates training, pre-pro and professional counseling as well. We're going to talk to her. What should we consider when we're planning a dancer's training schedule, which is so pertinent because I know that some of us are putting ink on our schedules, for most of us are for the new season, the 22-23 season. And how awesome would it be if we built in some time to counsel our high school level students and have these conversations with them? So maybe consider putting this in maybe 30 minutes a month, or individual meetings with your dancers. Maybe that's something to think about. So additional homework and exciting news. We have not shared it yet, but this is exciting. Guess who's re-airing on Shark Tank next Friday on ABC? So, yeah, you're going to see us. Paula's going to be on ABC again. And yeah, it's going to be fun time. So tune in on ABC, 8 p.m. Eastern, or check your local listings. Until then, we hope you continue your journey beyond the steps. Do your homework, and we'll see you right back here next Friday. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks for having me, ladies.
Thank you, Gina.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.